Hello and welcome back to Football Index Moneyball. I've had a few weeks off from making videos whilst I've been away on holiday, so sorry for the delay in getting this out to you. Obviously a lot's happened since my last pick, so to start off I'm going to give a bit of a summary of my thoughts on the situation. I may be the exception here, but for me I think the FI have handled the situation incredibly well. In particular, increasing spreads has to me done exactly what I hoped it would do. In the past, I actually toyed with the idea of making a video solely on the longevity and the security of Football Index and how the spreads could help to prevent crashes or panic selling. Although I didn't imagine something so severe as a pandemic and how that could affect things. Having seen the gradual drops controlled by the wide spreads on IS, followed by a small recovery over the last few days, I think this system's worked incredibly well to help people to stay calm and realise that this situation is temporary and that things are going to return to normal in time, with FI continuing to grow and improve. This has not only protected the platform, but it's protected every trader's investment in Football Index. And for some traders, it's protected them from the urge to sell up and cash out at a loss in a race to the bottom. In terms of what I think will happen next, I don't really know. So in order to continue to trade in a thoughtful fashion, I wrote a piece for my patrons this week with 5 types of players who I feel will be a safe investment for today's market, irrespective of what happens with the rest of the season. For today's pick, I've used one of these types of players, and that is non-European, non-PB players, who are likely to see transfer speculation, or in this case, an already agreed transfer in the summer. These players were not expected to play in any PB games until next season anyway, so the outbreak should have no real impact on them, other than to possibly lower our entry price. They also have the added benefit that if the Euros or the season were cancelled, other traders would likely look to move the money into these players as they start to plan ahead for the next season. So to get in now should help to increase our profit. If the season does restart, then again this shouldn't have too much of an effect on these types of players. And when the transfer window does finally open, we should benefit from the capital appreciation as they move to new clubs, or from speculation. And hopefully, when the next season comes around, we'll have players who are now PB eligible. Before we get going, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you want to follow me on Twitter, then you can search for @IndexMoneyball. And there's a referral link in the description if you want to sign up for Football Index, Football Index Edge and the Football Index Club. There's also a link to my new Patreon page where you can help support the channel and which gives you access to some bonus picks, portfolio reviews and other added benefits. For today's video, I've reverted back to just one player pick as I think there's limited money available for trading right now and there's low confidence, so I'm less concerned about a spike on video launch. The player I've gone for today is Hakim Ziyech of Ajax. Ziyech is a 26-year-old Moroccan right winger and he's probably the best non-PB league player around. He's been a dominant force for Ajax over the last 6 seasons, playing 184 games with 79 goals and 78 assists in the Eredivisie and 29 games with 8 goals and 11 assists in the Champions League. Chelsea have recently secured his services for next season for £44 million, and at 26 he could potentially be a star for them for the next 4 to 6 years. Taking a look at his 1-year graph, we can see that he's currently sitting at close to his all-time high, but considering that he only signed for Chelsea in February, his current price is only up about 30% from what it was before the announcement. That to me is a lot less than I would have expected if this transfer had gone through in January or in summer, and Ziyech should have been immediately available for PB games. So I think that over the next few months, Ziyech is steadily going to rise in anticipation of the new season. I would also expect some possible media buzz wins over the summer, around the time of when his transfer goes through and he joins Chelsea officially, along with his first appearances in friendlies and following any good performances in friendlies as well in the early season games. Here we've jumped over to Ziyech's transfer marked, and we can see that he's racked up a fair amount of trophies over his time at Ajax, including the 2018 Eredivisie Player of the Year award. For his career stats, he's played 325 games with 110 goals and 125 assists, at a combined rate of 0.79 per 90. This is a pretty impressive figure for a player who's played most of the career in midfield. And when we look at his positional stats here, you can see that he's actually an incredibly versatile player, with appearances at every position across the midfield and attack. This brings me to another possible source of capital appreciation, which I think has a good chance of coming in. That is that in recent years, Ziyech has played predominantly as a wide forward, and when you look at similar players such as Bergwijn and Promes, they're listed on FI as forwards. If Opta were to reassign Ziyech before the new season, then I would expect to see his price see a decent rise off the back of that as well. In this table, I've put together Ziyech's stats from the last 3 years in the Eredivisie and the last 2 seasons in the Champions League. In the 17-18 season, Ajax actually went out of the qualifying stages of the Champions League and they missed out on the Europa League as well. So just in case you were wondering why I hadn't included that. Looking at his numbers, there's a lot to take in here and plenty that could bode very well for his chances of winning PB at Chelsea next year. To start with, over the last 3 seasons he's averaged 0.4 goals and 0.5 assists per game. So pretty close to a goal contribution every game there. As far as the stats that I like to look for in attacking players, Ziyech absolutely smashes the 1 per 90 that I usually look for, with 3.8 key passes, 1.7 shots and 3.1 successful dribbles. Add to this the 1.3 successful tackles and 57 passes per game, and I think you have potential for a monster PB player. To top it all off, he's been on corners and free kicks and penalties at Ajax, so if he can keep hold of those duties, then he should be in really good shape. For my profit target analysis today, I went for the triple dividend scenario method, as I usually do with top end players. For the target prices, I chose to focus more on the star players for big English teams rather than trying to keep consistent with age and positions. The profit targets I've gone for are Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah at Liverpool and Kevin De Bruyne at Man City. I think Salah and Mane are good safe targets as they're both non-European and they both struggled a bit for PB and MB wins this season, which has seen their prices stagnate, and for Salah it's fallen quite significantly. Then for my top end target I've gone for De Bruyne, as I think that this actually might be more similar to the kind of impact I'd expect to see from Ziyech next season, where I think he'll be the focal point of the attack, similar to his time at Ajax and to how Hazard played at Chelsea when he was there. For my 3 dividend scenarios, I've gone for 10p of media and 16p of PB for scenario 1. This is pretty conservative as we don't yet know what the Media Madness promotion is going to be, but considering the current Media Day top payout is 5p for a win, then I think 10p for a major summer signing should be easily achievable. For the PB, I've gone for a Gold Day star man or 2 top forward wins, and I think with Ziyech's goal scoring record and the high level of involvement that he's likely to have through set pieces, this is another pretty conservative target. For scenario 2, I upped the media to 20p and the PB to 32p, which considering there could be a dividend review in the new season, this PB total could be very achievable. And for the third scenario, I went for 40p of media and 48p of PB. This target is a bit of a stretch, but if I did see Ziyech get this kind of return, then I think that his price should far exceed De Bruyne's. So that leaves us with profit target ranges of 13% for the low end of scenario 1 through to 100% at the high end of scenario 3. In order to be on track for 100% after 6 months, we need to see a 42% profit. Looking at the mid target of scenario 1 for 40%, the recent drops across the board and the likelihood of market growth before the new season, we should have a really good shot at this. But the main thing for me for this hold is that it gives a great way to continue to invest in FI without having to worry about how the outcome of COVID-19 is going to affect you. That's all we've got for you on today's pick. Again, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you know someone else who might like the video, then sharing with them would really help me out. There are links in the description for signing up to Football Index and Football Index Edge if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel for more strategy videos and the other picks of the day. Most picks are long-term holds with depressed prices for some reason or other, so often the picks can still offer the same value, if not better, a few weeks after. And the research methods and reasoning can help if you're new to the index and want to learn to analyse your own players. Thanks for watching, good luck on the index.